On behalf of the Buddhist Council of Greater St. Louis, I'd like to welcome our monastics, friends, and neighbors to our mini retreat today. We thank the Thai Temple for hosting our event and providing such a lovely space and the means to learn more about ourselves and the world. The Buddhist Council of Greater St. Louis is comprised of several temples, associations, and groups in the metro area. They have annual events to share the Dhamma and promote friendship and understanding across the different schools of thought and traditions of Buddhism. Please like us on Facebook to keep informed of our socially engaged Buddhism, Vesak Day, Mindfulness Day, and Walk to Feed the Hungry events. Our final event for this year will be Walk to Feed the Hungry. It will be held on Saturday, October the 22nd at Tower Grove Park. And I have some flyers today in case anyone needs one, for those of you who maybe haven't attended before. And speaking of Tower Grove Park, the council has a booth at the International Festival of Nations today. And so if you are planning to go there today or tomorrow, stop by and say namaste. Turning to today's event, a sampling of 5 flavors of Buddhist meditation. I'm not quite sure if I have heard of an event like the one that has been planned for today. We have a unique opportunity to learn from 5 very experienced teachers practicing right here in the St. Louis area. Bhikkhu Bodhi wrote that the purpose of Buddhist meditation is to liberate ourselves from delusion and thereby put an end to both ignorance and craving. That we develop attentiveness with regard to the body and mind so that ultimately there is no self. Unwholesome action comes from unwholesome thoughts, and purification of our thoughts and deeds leads us to freedom from fear. Bhikkhu Bodhi also wrote that the Buddha assigned different objects or subjects of meditation to his followers based on their previous births. While we won't have the fortune to have the Buddha assign us our own personalized assignment, perhaps one of our presenters today will be able to speak to our previous births and help us to find some self-understanding. So with each of our 5 teachers, we will ask for the group to stand when the teacher arrives to do the presentation, and then the teacher will ask you to be seated. Thank you. Please enjoy.
Congratulations, you come to the right meeting or retreat. As you see here, we have about one journal about once a week come out in the word mindfulness. And if it's not mindfulness, like brain power and time, they have a chapter in there about mindfulness. So it's a very hot topic. So, in the right place. Congratulations. It's about stress-free, as well as happiness and the great power with the mindfulness. So, what is mindfulness? You heard me talk about this a lot. Basically, mindfulness is we go by Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, the master of the Vipassana, mindfulness-based stress reduction. He said, paying attention to the present moment with intention. Very important here, with intention. And while letting go of judgment, non-judgment, as if your life depends on it. But when you talk about mindfulness, basically it's 2 virtues included in there. One is mindfulness and self-awareness. Mindfulness is basically like self-recollection, self-remembrance. Like you remember when you park your car, when you lock your house, what did you say to that to your children or your parents today, up to the present time, never to the future. So it go back deeper than memory, just like James Comey, they went to Trump Tower and talked to President Trump. Not only did he remember that, he remembered exactly what he said to him. Okay, or what President Trump told him to be easy on Gerald Finch. And when he came out, with the self-awareness, he wrote down everything. You can see with his wisdom there, self-awareness deal about present moment, immediate present moment, fresh feeling. Okay, it's about Tanphaichitr, clear comprehension, clear knowing, full awareness, conscious awareness. So deal with the very present moment. I want you to try, like, circle your fingers. Everyone try it. That's an immediate fresh feeling. Open and close your fist. Feel that. Touch the tip of your finger, slide it. That's very, very fresh, immediate. No thoughts in it, unless you have a biased thoughts. Okay? There's no space for a thought to be there. So when people refer to mindfulness, the combination of these two, or virtue, very limited. In Buddhism, there's what this is called right mindfulness, deal with a combination of mindfulness and self-awareness, or sammasati. Like pure perception, choiceless awareness, unbiased perception, perceiving without passion, non-judgmental knowing, similar to John Davidson was saying. Unknowing knowing, that's why my teachers very confused. What do you mean unknowing knowing? It's basically knowing without biased thoughts. It's easy to understand that. No space for biased thoughts. Perceiving with wisdom without doubt. In what? In what you encounter in the phenomenon, arisen from your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, the six sense view. So you can sum up easily. Mindfulness basically like capture or seize phenomena that you encounter. Like if you go to the airport, TSA line you up, that's mindfulness. They haven't done anything yet. But then self-awareness comes in, like those TSA agents that look over the monitor, investigate what you have in your bag or in your pocket. That's wisdom, basic wisdom, that you can advance into inside wisdom or Tanphaichitr. So it works together. One is seize the phenomenon, and self-awareness coming to investigate with wisdom. Just like Leonard was saying, people 40 was saying, one suffer our own thoughts. Okay, that's why you need to meditate. With our biased thoughts, it is embedded with greater delusion. That's sneaking with your thoughts. It's a sneaky thoughts. But the Buddha said mind is luminous, but tainted with transitory, very important, transitory akantuka kilesa. Transitory mental impurities of this three-headed delusion. So say hope that we can clear our mind to be luminous again. Luminous mind doesn't mean a purified mind. It's different. Luminous mind, like when you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, still haven't thought of that anything yet. Conscious awareness came in, and you, a fresh day, until you think, oh, I have to drop my kids for exam today. I'm late already. Then stress settled in right away. So the Buddha prescribed the four foundations of mindfulness as an antidote to all this. You basically observe your body, your own feeling, mind, mental phenomena. And he emphasized on this. Perseverance. Persevere with self-awareness, and mindfulness. In Pali called Atapi, is perseverance. Sampachano, self-awareness, and Satima is mindfulness. He emphasizes 4 times. One on the body, one on the feeling, one on the mind, one on mental phenomena. He did the same. For what? To get rid of pleasure and pain. So today I'll introduce you how you can meditate all day. Again, inside wisdom, all day long, 24/7. So what is called insight or vipassana meditation. So this 4 foundations of mindfulness, which is unique to Buddhism. Basically, it's called Sampachanya Bhakpa, or self-awareness technique. That's exactly what it's translated. So the Buddha prescribed on this, as such, being aware when you're stepping forward or backward. Why step backward? You go to the airport restroom, you have to step forward and backward, not to hit the toilet bowl with all your luggage, very tight corner. So you be very mindfully aware of anything. Looking ahead or sideways, like I'm looking out there. And stretching and bending, that's what we emphasize today. Like stretching, bending, we wish we do that all day long. Getting dressed, I'm sure you did that this morning to be here. I'll take off tonight. And eating, drinking, chewing, tasting. That's what John Kabat-Zinn did in his group study. MBSR, mindfulness stress reduction, mindfulness-based stress reduction. He gave every patient or every meditator a race. They took people with chronic pain syndrome or chronic debilitating illness. They have about 700 places in the U.S. and around the world, mostly in the U.S., that follow this guideline and very successful in treating many illness, chronic disease, and so on. They give one race for them to chew and taste on it. And normally we just swallow this one piece, so they have to chew and taste. That's basically the self-awareness technique. And drinking, chewing, and tasting. Urinating, defecating. Now get a little tough there. Walking, standing, sitting, going to bed. That's basically include the 4 major postures. Walking, standing, sitting, or laying down. Included in there. Waking up, talking, and remain silent. That's more difficult, remaining silent. So when I read this, I said, how in the world we can do this? Impossible. Every step of your life, basically. So until I studied this rhythmic dynamic meditation of Lofotian. It's an ancient technique that Venerable Lofotian revived it, popularized it. So basically, follow the 4 foundations of mindfulness. That's one of the 6 techniques in describing observing your body in the first foundation, in the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So again, perseverance, self-awareness, and mindfulness of the body, feeling, mind, and mental phenomena. To get rid of pressure in what? You observe the true nature of things as they really are. You can see they're unstable, unbearable, uncontrollable. Every phenomena, we call it lakkhanu panicca. You observe characteristics of the true nature of things. It's called tilakkana or trilak. Impermanence, imperfection, and selflessness. Leading to inside wisdom, seeing the true nature of things as they truly are. So let's start with that. Put your palms on your thigh, on your knees. Okay. Feel your right palm up to your ear. Bring it up your ear. Down to your tummy area. Left palm same way. Lift it up. Down to your tummy. Slide your right palm up. Bring it down. Get down. Turn it down. Left palm same way. That's one cycle. Don't need to count. There are 14 steps. I told you that, just start counting. You don't need to count. And don't fixate your mind, your hand. Simply acknowledge the movement. Don't need to know left hand or right hand. Simply observe the bodily movement. Because that's not the goal. That's only to anchor your mind at your bodily movement. You want to observe body, feeling, mind, and mental phenomena. If I acknowledge this, you know it with your mind, obviously. You already make your mind anchor here at this body. Observe what's ongoing in this body. So on with the feeling, mind, mental phenomena. So this is basically, keep on doing that. Do it with your eye open so you can incorporate this in your daily life. Now you become aware of your body externally with this hand movement. Internally, you know with your proprioceptive sense that you're sitting, you're not leaning or lying, not laying down. You observe what's ongoing in this body, the phenomena that arise. Like lift your hand up, it's moving, arising, when you lay down, ceasing. So it's many things in your body arising and ceasing all the time. So body is there that you can acknowledge, become mindfully aware of this body. See that there's no person, no being, no self in this body. It's not yours or mine. Keep changing all the time. Impermanent, imperfection, and selfless in nature. You see it thoroughly, it free you from craving the concepts, not cling to your body or anything in this world. That's how you free yourself from suffering through being aware of your body, as your body. Similarly, you can observe your feeling as you're aware of this body. Keep on doing it, don't stop. The rest of the hours of my talk, please continue doing that at your own pace. Don't have to follow me, but just do it at your own pace, with your eye open. Aware of your feeling when you aware of this hand movement, aware of your feeling. What's your feeling physically? Comfort, discomfort, or mentally? Happy, unhappy, or neutral feelings. See the changing nature of your feeling that arise and cease all the time. Okay, so feeling is there that you can acknowledge, become mindfully aware of the feelings. And to see the fleeting nature of this feeling that arise and cease all the time. No person, no being, no self in these feelings. It's not yours or mine. It's impermanent. Keep changing. Imperfect, and selfless in nature. Right? Yeah. So by doing that, acknowledge thoroughly, it frees you from craving the concept, not clinging to the conceptual world, not clinging to your feeling or anything in this world. That's how you free yourself from suffering through being aware of your feeling at your feelings. Similarly to the mind, as you aware this hand movement, observe the nature of your mind in this moment. Is your mind full of desire or what desire? Your mind filled with anger or what anger? Your mind filled with delusion or ego or what ego delusion? Are you manic or depressed in your mind? Is your mind steady or unsteady? Is your mind reaching supreme or not reaching the supreme? Is your mind in deep jhana or not in deep jhana? Is your mind liberated or not liberated? So you see all sorts of nature of your mind, duality of your mind. So you see a changing nature of your mind, what's ongoing. No person, no being, no self in this mind. Not yours or mine. Keep changing all the time. It's impermanent, imperfect, and selfless in nature of this mind. So you see it thoroughly, free you from craving and concepts, not cling to your mind in this way. That's how you free yourself from suffering through being aware of your mind at your mind. Then you proceed to observe the mental phenomena that arise and cease all the time. See how your eyes interact with this image or sight that you see in front of you. Seeing me talking, see this light going on, arising and ceasing all the time. How your ears interact with the sound, all the sounds that you can hear, and so on. The nose smell, taste with the tongue, body contact, like you move your hand here, with the body, and thoughts with your mind. And how it gives rise to eye consciousness when you see sight, color, a slight moving. Understand the nature of it. Ear consciousness when you hear these sounds. Nasal consciousness when you smell. Tongue consciousness when you taste. Body consciousness with the physical contact. And tongue consciousness, mental consciousness with thoughts. So each one needs specific sense organ and sense consciousness. There's a specific responding to corresponding sense sphere. So the four foundations of mindfulness. Why so? Because it's a reverse engineering technique to catch one's thoughts as it arises. Either through form of your body, feeling, perception, thought formation, consciousness. Those are the five aspects of life. That's why we meditate on this four, out this five. See, form is basically, you meditate on the body. Feeling, you meditate on the feeling, obviously. Perceive, to understand that. Consciousness with the mind. And thought formations with the mental phenomena. That's why we meditate on this four aspects of life that we all dwell in. It's all part of your life. So perception is basically coming back to the right mindfulness or mindful awareness. Perceive unbiased, non-judgmental. Because we don't see this, that's why we end up with five aggregates of clinging to five parts of your body, including each one. Like your body keep changing, your hair turn gray, your teeth get cavities, so you worry about that a lot. So each one you cannot control, unstable, unbearable, uncontrolled. But we cling to it, that's become the first noble truth of suffering. So the Buddha described how we interact with this sixth sense sphere. Okay? Because from the sixth sense sphere that I talk about consciousness corresponding to that contact, feeling, perception, and then bias perception, end up with craving, become eye tag. That's how the neuroscientists also notice the same. When you perceive, it goes into the brain. Similarly, when you see sight, it goes to the lateral geniculate nucleus, go to the optic tract, and to the visual cortex, the visual center. That's what I learned in medical school. And now, we're going to describe this too. It's called Jakku Twara Vachanati. And it interacts and causes Jakku Vinyan to understand. But you have to convey back to the superior temporal gyrus, as well as lateral geniculate nucleus. Professor Damasio, he's the head of neurology at Iowa, said, in parallel with generating mental pattern of an object, you also generate a sense of self in the act of knowing. Okay? But the Buddha said it's not parallel, it's sequential, very important. Bias perception leads to craving. What is craving? It's the cause of suffering, second noble truth. The Buddha discovered an important thing because pure perception is starts with that first before it turns to biased perception. And you have the chance to nullify this biased perception and stop the biased perception, biased thoughts with mindful awareness, mindfulness self-awareness. That becomes the third noble truth. Free yourself from suffering, nirvana. So he described the benefit of this four foundations as supreme path, that purify all beings. We keep doing that. Everyone stop doing it. That one transcends grief, sorrow, lamentation, overcoming suffering and unhappiness. Keep doing that. That one understand essential Dharma, Noble Eightfold Path, and realize the one, ultimate peace and happiness. That's the Fourth Noble Truth. So we covered all four of them. So how? Here we are. Through self-observation, self-monitoring, just reiterate that. Perseverance, self-awareness, and mindfulness on the body, feel, and mind, and mind. Get your pleasure and pain. How do you do that? Do day and night. Buddha said, do day and night with pleasure and joy, not with stress and pain. Okay? You can do formal practice like this. And informal practice, you do through the movement of your daily life. You embed your mindfulness there. You gain self-awareness immediately. And do not become unbiased in every phenomenon you encounter. Do not anticipate. Do not indulge in what you encounter. And do not intervene. You just observe. In fact, you observe without observing. Okay? Observe without bias, without self, with joy and bliss. Because joy leads you to bliss. You set your mind with joy, it leads to bliss automatically. Lead to calmness of your body and mind. Lead to happiness, which is conducive for steady mind. And steady mind gives you energy, energize your brain, your wisdom. So you gain samatha, the tranquility, concentration to this, with a steady mind. Gain more insight. Intuitive wisdom is with all of us. You gain more insight. So you gain inner wisdom, inside wisdom. So what? You see the true nature of things. Physically, you can see the changing nature. From an infant to a young child, to adolescence, young man, middle age, old age, and die. Just like every chapter of your life in one book. Physically, you can see it easily. It is impermanence, imperfection, selflessness. Even though sometimes it takes time to see that. But mentally, it's difficult to observe because mind is formless, travel far in the thoughts and so on. We reside in this cavity of this cave, this body. Anyone that can control one's mind and use it to happiness. So we can see the mind movement, the thoughts, and then catch the thought as they arrive, get rid of the biased thoughts. That's how your wheel of thoughts, your life, the mini life, small world that you create all the time, thousands of times each day. From ignorance, not seeing the truth, plunged impulse, tame your mental consciousness. You generate mental image, self-image hologram, embed the sixth sense sphere, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, contact, feeling, craving, thinking, becoming your thoughts, birth and your